We're doing a documentary on organized crime.
Oh, all right. At City Hall.
It looks like a really expensive place. Where does the money come from to fund it? I was given a tip that this is the location of the organized crime syndicate in power over this entire turf. Is that right? Well, calm down.
The city clerk's office.
Okay, just calm down though.
Nope.
You okay?
Yeah. Do you have any other questions, sir?
Well, yeah, I do, but let's do some breathing exercises because it seems like you're getting a little... Well, we were told that the organized crime unit in control of this entire turf operates out of this building.
Organized crime works out of City Hall and the building across the street from it.
That's right.
Also city property.
That is the tip that we were given.
Okay.
You okay? Why did you call a guy with a gun?
What are your other questions?
Right now I'm asking, why did you wave a guy with a gun over here? I was just asking you questions.
Sir.
Ben, please don't be disorderly. So I was asking them if the money that's brought into this building is brought here through threats, violence, and coercion. And you know what they did? Instead of answering my question, they called a guy with a gun.
Ah, gotcha.
You see the irony there?
Okay.
We were given certain characteristics of organized crime to be on the lookout for. Organized crime is a structured process rather than random acts of lawlessness. Organized crime groups are often motivated by profit rather than revenge. Organized crime groups use corruption to protect their operations and gain influence. Organized crime groups use threats, intimidation, and force to protect their operations.
No deadly weapons. Gun lockers available. Hey, how's it going? We're doing a documentary on organized crime. And we were in the area and we saw this building. We were told that some of the people here, if not all of them, are affiliated with an organized crime syndicate. What do you know about that?
Absolutely nothing.
Nothing?
Nothing.
Okay. What did you say this building is then?
City Hall.
City Hall.
Yes, sir.
So it has nothing to do with organized crime?
No.
Okay. I wonder if I got a bad tip. Or are you hiding something?
I am not.
It looks like a really expensive place. Where does the money come from to fund it?
It would be from the city.
From the city?
An official city building. From the city government.
Where does the city get the money from?
That is beyond my understanding.
Huh.
I don't deal with the politics or the funding of the city.
So it could be organized crime if you don't know where the money comes from.
That is an unusual theory, but again, it's not my purview.
Okay. Well, that's kind of what I'm here to investigate today, is I was told that the place is completely run on extortion, theft, threats of force and violence against people if they refuse to fund it. Kind of the way the mafia ran back in the day, you know, how they'd come around to the businesses and be like, hey man, you know, I'll offer you protection at a price. And you're like, you know what? I've actually got my own security. And then the mafia leaves and they come back later and throw a brick through the window and say, I said, I'll offer you protection, right? Mm-hmm. I was told that this place is kind of run this in a very similar way.
I disagree with that.
Okay, not true?
I disagree with that. I personally mean.
Oh, okay. So how is the money collected then?
I am a security officer at the city. I do not deal with the politics or the funding of the city.
Okay. So you don't know how the money is collected?
No.
But it's definitely not collected through coercion, threats of force or violence or anything?
I've never witnessed or seen that, no.
Never witnessed or seen it?
No.
Okay. How is the money collected then? Is it
Probably taxes
taxes?
would be my theory.
Okay. Taxes. How does taxes work?
I do not understand that. That is beyond my purview. I am a security officer at the city.
Okay.
I do my job, and I do not deal with the politics or the funding of the city.
Just I find it bizarre that you're certain that this place is not funded through threats,
I did not
force,
say
and
that.
violence.
I said I have never witnessed that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But you're not sure how it's funded, other than taxes?
Is my theory, yes, sir.
That's your theory? Okay. And taxes are collected, they're optional, right?
I do not know.
Don't know?
No.
Okay. I guess maybe that's what I'll have to figure out then, is whether or not taxes are optional. And what would happen to somebody if they didn't pay taxes. You know who you might send me to get the answers to those questions?
I don't know.
Okay. Do you know who I might be able to talk to in this building to find out how the money gets to this building to pay your
This building does
paycheck?
not have that staff. Our licensing and tax department is across the street in another building.
Licensing and tax department. And do you know the address of that place?
No, but it's directly across the street.
And the city clerk's not here either?
The city clerk may be here. That would be in their office. You'd have to go in there and ask.
In this one? Okay. Because I'm wondering, I'm thinking, I mean, you're security, right? So, I mean, I don't mean to like press you for stuff. I imagine that your job is just to hurt people if they ask you to hurt them, not necessarily know what's going on. So I respect that you don't really know. Maybe I should ask the city clerk then.
If you'd
Some of
like
these
to.
questions. Okay. What was your name so I can jot down for my supervisor who I spoke to? Mark?
Yep,
Do you have a last name?
I do.
Can I get it?
No, I can give you my badge number.
Okay.
Bravo 1766. B1766. There's our policy not to share our name at this time.
It's policy?
Yes.
Huh. Interesting. And I notice you have a firearm on you.
Yes, sir.
What are you carrying there? What type of firearm is that?
It's a Glock.
It's a Glock? Glock what?
I feel uncomfortable sharing that information at this time. You can make a Freedom of Information request, and
Is it department issued?
yes, it is.
From the police department?
Yes, sir.
But you have no law enforcement credentials?
Not in this position, no, sir.
Can anybody else carry a firearm in here?
No.
Okay. So we do have different rules for different people?
Yes.
Okay, excellent. And if someone did try to carry if a regular person who isn't authorized by the king or whoever might be in charge were to try to carry a tool of self-defense in here, what would you do?
We would ask them to place it outside in the lockbox.
What if they didn't?
They would be asked to leave.
What if they didn't?
They would be trespassed.
What if they didn't leave still?
That would be up to the police department to escalate that to whatever level it needs to be to include arrest.
What if they refuse to be arrested?
That is beyond my purview.
What if they chose to defend themselves?
That is beyond my purview.
Okay. Interesting. Would you personally be willing to escalate to killing somebody over their right to self-defense?
I do not feel comfortable discussing that with you.
Is that a yes or a no?
I just answered you.
You might want to discuss it with yourself, at least. Maybe when you go home tonight. Your lack of responsiveness and the way you're staring at me makes me feel as if you're either upset, uncomfortable, or otherwise
Free to your
unhappy.
thoughts. You're free to your thoughts, sir.
Okay, are you upset with the things that I've said?
No.
Okay. You just are non-responsive? Are you deep in thought?
Perhaps.
Okay, good,
We all have our thoughts.
good. That's good, I mean, my comments were intended to provoke thought, so I'm glad it worked. I do appreciate you thinking about it then, Mark. All right, I'll go find out where the money comes from, Mark.
Okay.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Hi.
Hey, how you doing?
Good, how are you?
Good. I go by Grande Johnson. I'm here to conducting an investigation for a documentary we're doing on organized crime.
Okay.
I was given a tip that this is the location of the organized crime syndicate in power over this entire turf. Is that right?
I apologize, sir. I don't understand what you're saying.
I was told that this is an organized crime unit that operates out of here. Is that right or no?
Are you talking about the police department?
I'm talking about, is this the city?
This is City Hall, yes.
Okay, yeah, I was told that it's an organized crime unit and that it's funded off of extortion, theft, and funds taken through coercion, force, violence, or threats of violence.
Yeah, sir, I've never heard that before. This is, yes, this is the city clerk's office, so I really can't help you. I really don't know what you're talking about. I apologize.
Okay, city clerk's office? All right. What's your name? So I can tell my boss who I spoke with.
My name is Ben Lane.
Ben Lang,
Lane, L-A-N-E.
L-A-N-E. Okay, and you don't know anything about organized crime operating out of this?
I do not, sir. No.
Okay. I'm sure you've heard of organized crime before. You ever seen a mob movie or a mafia movie or?
I have, sir, but there is no organized crime operating out here that I know of.
Okay. So all the funds that come into this place are given voluntarily by people who choose to fund it?
Sir, this is the city. We are a government agency.
Government agency? Okay. Government agency. Okay, and all the funds that come in are given voluntarily?
Sir, if you need to speak about how the city is funded, I would recommend you speak to the city treasurer's office or the city manager's office. Okay.
Okay, city treasurer or city manager? Are they in this building?
They are not.
Where are they at?
They're across the street.
Okay, I think that's what the security was telling me too. Is that also where the licensing and tax department is?
I believe so, sir. I'm not 100% sure.
Okay. If I were to go over there and find out that this entire place was funded from money that was taken through coercion, threats, force, or violence, how would you feel about taking a paycheck from these people?
Sir, I can't answer that because that's a hypothetical question you're asking me, so I'm not going to answer that.
Okay.
Okay. Do you have any other questions?
Yeah. What's your salary, Ben?
You can look that up, sir. You can make a public records request for my salary.
Okay. Very suspicious how you're not...
Sir, you're asking me questions. I've already told you who you need to talk to.
Well, calm
The
down.
city clerk's office.
Okay, just calm down though.
Nope.
You okay?
Yeah. Do you have any other questions, sir?
Well, yeah, I do, but let's do some breathing exercises because it seems like you're getting a little... Ben,
What are your other questions, sir?
Ben, you're getting a little fired up. I need you to not be disorderly.
What are your other questions, sir?
Ben, I need you to not be disorderly. You okay?
What are your other questions?
You okay? Why did you call a guy with a gun?
What are your other questions?
Right now I'm asking, why did you wave a guy with a gun over here? I was just asking you questions.
Sir,
Ben, please don't be disorderly.
If you don't have any city business, you can be asked to please leave.
Mark, I do have city business. Ben, why did you call a guy with a gun over here when I asked you questions?
because, sir, I told you I don't have any more answers for you, and you continue to ask me questions.
See, when I ask you, you understand I'm trying to find out about organized crime. Wait,
I do not know anything about organized crime,
Ben,
sir.
calm down. I need you to calm down, Ben. Don't get disorderly. Okay, so I ask you if this place is funded by threats, coercion, and violence, and your answer is to call a guy with a gun?
That is incorrect, sir. You asked me a hypothetical. I explained I'm not answering hypothetical questions.
I asked if it's funded by threats, coercion, and violence, and you waved a guy with a gun over here to try to intimidate me.
No, sir, you asked me you asked me a hypothetical question, and I said I would not answer hypothetical questions.
Ben, if you don't want to cooperate with the investigation, you are free to go.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate that.
You're welcome, Ben. I'm going to jot down that you were uncooperative, combative, and that you called people with guns. I know when he waved you over there, it looked like, we talked about you have a firearm on you, right? And I just found it really suspicious that I asked him whether the funding for this building was through threats, coercion, and violence, and his immediate response was to wave a guy with a gun over. Does that make sense?
I'm a security officer.
Right.
I'm not a guy with a gun.
You are a guy with a gun. You are a guy with a gun in a building where I've been told that I am not allowed to have the equal right to self-defense. Do you see how it's starting to look like this may actually be an organized crime syndicate operating on threats, coercion, and violence against innocent people? I came in, heard the accusations, but making no conclusions. But it is beginning to look like I hit the nail right on the head here. Don't you think, Mark?
I think people are allowed to have their own thoughts.
All right, Mark. Well, just so you know, we're no threat. We're only asking questions and documenting the situation. Does that make sense? Mark, I'm just trying to be open and clear with you. So, all right? So that there's no misunderstandings, or you don't think that I would act the way that you guys act and threaten violence or anything like that upon anyone. Does that make sense?
Sure.
I would never do such a thing. I would never act like you guys.
Sure.
I feel like I might be targeted at this point simply for asking if this place is funded by force, threats, coercion, and violence. Should I sleep with one eye open from now on? Do you think?
I think you're allowed to have your own thoughts, sir.
Okay. There's the police. I think the police just showed up for us.
Hello.
Hey, man.
How are you?
Doing good. How are you?
Good. What you guys up to?
Doing an investigation. You want to come over here? It's the noise from the water over here is too much.
Doing investigation, huh?
Yeah.
For what?
Well, we can talk about it over here. I just don't like the background noise.
So what are we doing?
Well, did they call you for us?
Yeah.
I thought so.
Yeah.
Yeah. Could I get your name real
Yeah,
quick?
Lieutenant Reynolds.
LT Reynolds.
Yep.
Like Ryan Reynolds, spelled the same way, I mean?
Sort of, yeah. The last name is spelled the same way, yep.
R-E-Y?
Yep, that's how you spell it.
Okay.
Yep.
And you guys don't give last names? Oh, I'm sorry. You know what? That is your last
That's
name,
my
is
last
it?
name.
How about
Yeah,
your first name?
1290 is my badge number.
1290. How about your first name?
No.
Okay.
So what's going on?
Well, I didn't call you, but I do think it's interesting that they did.
Okay. Well, they called because they said that you were causing a disturbance inside.
Oh, really?
So-
Okay. Well, so is there a statute that says that filing a false police report is a crime?
Of course there is.
Okay, what's that? Do you know what it is?
Offhand? No, I don't. It's ARS 13, Title 13.
Okay, who called then?
City security.
Okay.
City Hall security.
You want to go ahead and charge him then?
For. Why
Making
don't you
a
tell
false-
me what you're doing that might have caused him to call us?
The irony
Because
of
I wasn't here, right?
the irony of
Or
what I'm
you
doing.
don't have to tell me anything, which is totally your right.
Right.
In which case, I'll just leave.
I
You
kind of
ask
want to
me
tell you
what-
because the irony of the fact that he called you is just insane.
Okay.
So we're doing a documentary on organized crime.
Oh, all right. At City Hall.
Well, we were told that by somebody that there are people within this building, whether it is the city itself or representatives or whatever, don't know, that the organized crime unit in control of this entire turf operates out of this building and that building over there.
That organized crime works out of City Hall and the building across the street from it.
That's right.
Also city property.
Yep, that is the
Interesting.
tip that we were given.
Okay.
So the mafia will come in and they'll offer protection, right? They'll come to a business and say, hey man, 20%, and we'll take care of you. Somebody tries to rob you, we'll take care of them.
Sure.
We'll offer you protection.
Yeah.
Right? And the owner says, yeah, you know what? I've actually got my own security. Not interested in your protection. So the mafia leaves. They come back and throw a brick through the window. Right? Come back and say, oh shoot. See what happened? They say, all right, man. I said I'll offer you protection. Right?
Okay.
You heard of that model, right?
Sure.
And at that point, it's like, okay, I get it. The protection I need is from you, and if I don't pay you, I'm gonna need protection, right? So I was trying to find out from them, I was asking them how the city is funded.
How the city is funded?
Yeah.
Taxpayer dollars, obviously.
Okay, they wouldn't tell me that. So it's taxpayer dollars? Taxes?
Just like every other city, right?
Okay, funded through taxes? And those are voluntary, right?
Taxes?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not going to get into the discussion of the Constitution. I don't know how it's. I think the Constitution determines how taxes are paid and who pays them and so forth. But are they voluntary? I don't know. I pay my taxes. You probably pay yours. Do we like it? Not necessarily, but we do it, right? Because we're good citizens.
Okay. All right. So maybe not voluntary then?
I don't know, man.
Have you ever thought about what would happen if you didn't? What if you said, you know what?
I'm here because they called about a disturbance. You guys are now outside, which is fantastic. You want to talk about anything else, how I can help you with something, I'm happy to do that, but I'm not going to get into a discussion about taxes or the mafia, which I don't know anything about, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I know. If you did, you seem like a good guy. So if you did and you realized, holy smokes, I'm literally working for blood money that's been taken from people through threats, violence, and coercion, I would imagine you'd be the type of guy who would say, you know what, man, I'm out.
That's not
Doesn't mean you wouldn't be law enforcement still. It doesn't mean you wouldn't be a guy who protects people's life, liberty, and property, but you would probably say, holy smokes, man, I'm the bad guy.
Doesn't sound right.
I became the mafia. So I was asking them if the money that's brought into this building is brought here through threats, violence, and coercion. And you know what they did? Instead of answering my question, they called a guy with a gun.
Ah, gotcha.
You see the irony there?
Okay.
You see that? Now, we were super calm. You'll see the video posted later. I mean, he was getting real escalated.
Okay.
Ben Lane.
Oh.
And we told him, I tried to teach him some deep breathing exercises. But he was, I mean, you could see, and he needed it. I've been there. I'm sure you have too.
Yeah.
Sometimes, people say or do something, but we weren't trying to get him upset. We just wanted to know where the money came from. And he says, no, it's not threats and violence. And then he called you.
Okay.
And I think first he called in the security guard. It looked like an attempt to intimidate us because I don't have a gun.
Did he ask you to leave? at any
No,
point?
no.
Oh.
And I wouldn't have to leave anyways. I was there conducting official business. So, and even if he did ask me to leave, but I told him, you're not detained. You can, if you don't want to cooperate with the investigation, clearly that's suspicious, right? But not illegal.
Sure.
So at that point he left, but I guess they called you anyways. But the irony of me saying, hey, are you operating here under threats, violence, and coercion? And then multiple people with guns get called into a building where the sign says that I'm not allowed to carry a gun and be able to defend myself, right? So I've been disarmed. I'm no longer able to defend myself. And when I ask questions about threats, violence, and coercion used against people like me, they call people that looks like threats, violence, and coercion to be used against me.
Okay.
Think about it, man. Do you work for the mafia?
No, I don't. I'm just curious. Your affiliation with your investigation, are you like a independent investigator or?
I work for BAO.
For BAO? Oh, I never heard of them.
BAO. But yeah, I work for BAO.
You're like a,
And he's with Lorata.
I don't know what that is.
Lorata. I don't know what it is either. Somebody told me it's Spanish for the rat. And so basically what I gather is he just pays my paycheck. So I don't ask a whole lot of questions. I just do as I'm told.
I see.
But Lorata, I'm told, is Spanish for the rat. So I guess I'm a snitch. I'm just going around gathering information on violent thugs who potentially, rule other people and take their life, liberty, and property through unjust threats, force, and coercion. And then I snitch to BAO about it.
Okay.
So I'm going to snitch about Ben Lane.
Okay.
Calling you, and I will let him know, though, that Lieutenant Reynolds refused to use violence or coercion or even threatening in any way whatsoever.
Sounds good.
But that was the intent of Ben Lane and the security guard was to, I think that's why they called you. I do.